This is the left. This is why we should be boycotting the Olympics in China. Well, happy Tuesday once again, and welcome back. Talking about crime and mayhem, disorderly conduct, the Democrats across the United States of America. I was talking about the recall effort in Los Angeles, California, of George Gascon, a George Soros prosecutor like Kim Foxx in Chicago and like Chesa Boudin in San Francisco, and how all of this is actually interconnected, and it is all interconnected. Let me go to this. It's absolutely crazy, really. And we were talking. This all started in my head. I didn't prepare this before the show, but I was talking to Tom in Chicago just a couple of minutes ago, listening on the great WLS, which I grew up with, and everybody grew up with in that region of the world. And Tom, a now retired Chicago police officer, also a military veteran, fought in the Vietnam War in Vietnam, communism, backed by the Soviet Union. Putin is a Soviet communist attempting to reconstitute the old Soviet empire. He said the greatest tragedy of the 20th century was the collapse of the Soviet Union. He's threatening to invade Ukraine. Joe Biden will be holding a little video teleconference with Putin today where Putin will slap him around like he's a kitten from a rescue shelter. And the helpless, feckless, hapless Joe Biden will submit and succumb to whatever it is that Vlad the Impaler wants. We've got a loser in the White House, and we got a tough guy in the Kremlin. But that aside, Tom fought against the communists in the Vietnam War. The Korean War was against the communists. The Cold War was against the communists. The left here has been busy building the infrastructure and eroding our real infrastructure like the termites that they are. And they've been building toward what we're witnessing today. Now, Tom, Chicago Police, his wonderful bride, also just retired from the Chicago Police recently, and living in Chicago, taking care of elderly parents. And an extraordinary story from Tom, and thank you for calling in. We started talking about Kim Foxx, the radical left-wing George Soros prosecutor in Chicago, and Mayor Lori Lightweight in Chicago, saying the problem with crime is, the parents should have and the parents should, they're holding the parents accountable in the school shooting in Michigan, but all the insanity in Chicago, and the parents are never called in. The 11-year-old carjacker they arrested last week in Chicago, 11 years old, carjacking multiple people, was talking about in Portland, where they don't have enough police to respond. Yesterday, they had 2 armed carjackings. The police shot and killed one of the armed carjackers. And this was Portland, Oregon. This is not downtown Detroit or the Bronx or something. This is what the Democrats are doing. Again, last year, a 100-year record increase in homicides across the country, 29.4%. In fact, the biggest increase ever recorded. We've only been keeping records for 100 years. And in San Francisco, they've got a George Soros prosecutor in Los Angeles, George Gascon, who's a radical anti-police leftist, a Democrat. In San Francisco, they've got a George Soros funded prosecutor, Chesa Boudin. Who is Chesa Boudin, and what kind of a name is that? It's not a very good name. It's the name of a terrorist. And he's the spawn, the bastard child of 2 terrorists. I kid you not. David Gilbert was his father, still alive. He's a terrorist. And his mother, a terrorist, Kathy Boudin. They've both been released from prison, but these are terrorists, and they both went to prison. David Gilbert with the SDS and then the Weather Underground, like William Ayers and Bernardine Dorn, in whose living room Barack Obama launched his political career, William Ayers and Bernardine Dorn. Radical left terrorists, okay? Now let me just scratch the surface on this a little bit. David Gilbert, the father of Chesa Boudin, cop killer, sentenced to 75 years to life. 3 counts of homicide, 2 police officers, 1 Brinks guard, because they were robbing the Brinks truck to fund the communist revolution. David Gilbert. And Kathy Boudin is the mother. That's David Gilbert, the father of the current district attorney in San Francisco, who's anti-police and pro-criminal. His mother, Kathy Boudin, another terrorist, member of the radical left militant group, the Weather Underground, convicted of felony murder for her role in the Brinks robbery of 1981. When Chesa, that was named Chesa because they're mental cases, and when they went to prison for murdering 2 police officers and a Brinks guard, they handed off their baby, Chesa Boudin, who gets his mother's name and not his father's name because it's a bastard child, and they don't believe in the nuclear family, just like Black Lives Matter today, anti-nuclear family. So they handed off their little demon seed, their Rosemary's baby, to 2 other terrorists, William Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, the adoptive parents of Chesa Boudin. William Ayers and Bernadine Dorn were SDS, Students for a Democratic Society, radical, hardcore leftists, and the Weather Underground, okay? And among other things, they bombed the United States Capitol, detonated a bomb inside the United States Capitol. And they're proud of it and said that it came out in a New York Times piece, I believe, on September 11th, 2001, where he was pictured standing on an American flag, trampling it in a filthy alley that Democrats created, in a ghetto that Democrats created. But William Ayers raised Chesa Boudin and Bernadine Dorn. These are radical left-wing terrorists who bombed, among other things, police headquarters, the U.S. Capitol, I believe the Pentagon also. And Bernadine Dorn, and then you see the FBI apparently botched the evidence in the case, so they never faced justice, or they would have gone to prison for a very long time too. Instead of doing 10 years in prison, they got tenure at major American universities. Okay, Bernadine Dorn and William Ayers both got tenure at major American universities, so they could influence the next generation, including the bastard terrorist child that they raised, Chesa Boudin. Chesa Boudin, naturally, the bastard child of 2 left-wing terrorists and murderers, cop killers, raised by 2 other terrorists, William Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, again, in whose living room Barack Obama launched his political career. Barack Obama was raised and weaned by a card-carrying member of as his mentor growing up, of the U.S. Communist Party, of the Communist Party. All right? And then Chesa Boudin being raised by William Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, who are given jobs in academia because of the fact that they're left-wing terrorists and not in spite of the fact that they're left-wing terrorists. Chesa Boudin naturally went on to be educated at Yale, where he got his bachelor's degree and his law degree, and then over to Oxford University in England, where he got 2 more degrees, you see. Then he came back here, and he's being funded by left-wing billionaire benefactor who got rich through breaking the bank and uprooting currencies. What they would consider to be foul play on the left if it weren't themselves doing it, okay? And so Chesa Boudin is now the radical left wing as crime spins out of control and skyrockets and people are fleeing and there are human feces everywhere and junkies laying on the ground everywhere in San Francisco. Now, who was the district attorney in San Francisco before Chesa Boudin became the district attorney funded by George Soros? Well, interestingly enough, it was George Gascon, who is now the district attorney in Los Angeles facing recall there. A recall election there. Just a few of the pieces of the Democrat Party. And again, bombing the Capitol, you see, William Ayers, and also behind the Chicago riots in 1968 and 1969, which the left still blames on the police. You go to college, they tell you it was a police riot, and they blame the Chicago police. People like Tom, who fought in Vietnam and then came home. Now, Tom didn't join the Chicago police force until after he came home from Vietnam in 1971. But the Democrats blamed the police then. They blame the police now because they're not liberals. They're the left. And keep in mind, the Democrat Party isn't, okay? The Democratic Party isn't democratic. George Gascon is a radical left-winger, and people are being murdered because of the things that he does. Chesa Boudin is a radical left-wing spawn of terrorists who, people are being murdered because of what he does. They're ruining the cities of San Francisco and Los Angeles. Kim Foxx, another George Soros, prosecutor in Chicago, ruining the city of Chicago. Lori Lightweight, the mayor of Chicago, ruining the city of Chicago. William Ayers, Bernardine Dohrn, terrorists, academia, given jobs in academia. And again, the mad bombers of the Capitol, when it was cool to bomb the Capitol, you see. And let me tell you something else. January 6th, the riot on Capitol Hill, January 6th, the first ever Republican riot. Lots of military veterans, people that served in Iraq and Afghanistan. The person that was killed by the police there was the only person killed that day, notwithstanding what the news media pretended. The Capitol Police shot and killed a 14-year Air Force veteran, right? And where's the left is with the police in this case, and in this case only. Now, again, William Ayers bombed the U.S. Capitol and got tenure at a major American university. Where did anybody bomb the Capitol on January 6th? William Ayers invited Barack Obama, then a state senator in Illinois, over to his house to have a coffee and meet and talk and raise money for Barack Obama to run for the U.S. Senate so that he could become president of the United States. Frank Marshall Davis was Barack Obama's mentor when Barack Obama was a teenager, a card-carrying member of the Communist Party. Barack Obama goes to launch his political career. Where else would he go but the living room of William Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn, known terrorists, anti-police, radicals, and, of course, bombed the U.S. Capitol building. Why would that be a problem? That's today's Democrat Party. Now, we're all of this not true, and if American veterans that were with Trump on the ellipse that day, and there were a lot of people that misbehaved, and you don't assault the police. That's the beginning and the end of that discussion. Walking through the Capitol in many cases, and now they're using like being waved in by the police in many cases. You're getting years and years in prison for walking through like the goofy guy with the horns on his head, who didn't break anything, who didn't steal anything, who didn't assault anybody. Years in prison. A lot of people see what's going on as not being equal justice under law, which is what is engraved in the relief above the entrance to the United States Supreme Court. But were it not for the rioting and the looting and the abuses of power by the Democrats and targeting Trump people through the Justice Department, the abuses of the FISA court by J. Edgar Comey, and the abuses of the CIA under John Brennan and altering documents to get the political enemies of the Democrat Party. And there are still people sitting in the D.C. jail, which, by the way, the U.S. Marshal Service came in over the weekend, I guess, and evacuated hundreds of people from the D.C. jail because the conditions are so horrendous in the D.C. jail run by Democrats that the federal government would not keep people there. But there are people from January 6th that are still being held in jail. If they were Democrats, they'd be offered tenure at Ivy League schools. You see, were it not for all of this as the backdrop, January 6th would have never happened. That's a fact, Jack. Hey, the holidays are here. This year, give yourself the gift of extra money in your pocket. Pay off your credit card balances and save a whole lot of your hard-earned cash with a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream. You can roll your high-interest credit card payments into just one monthly payment at a lower fixed rate. At Lightstream, their rates start at 4.98% APR with auto pay and your excellent credit. Have you looked at the little boxes in your credit card, the percentages they're charging you? Plus, the rate is fixed, so it'll never go up over the life of the loan. Lightstream believes that people like you with good credit deserve a better loan experience, and that's exactly what Lightstream delivers. Now, just for my listeners, that's you. You know who that is. Apply right now, get a special interest rate discount, save even more of your hard-earned money. The only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/plant. That's, of course, LIGHTSTREAM.com/PLANTE. Why the E? I can't explain it. Subject to your good credit approval, rates range from 4.98% APR to 19.99% APR and include a 0.5% auto pay discount. Lowest rate requires your excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/plant for more information. Now, I just wanted to put those pieces together because those are the pieces that occurred to me talking to Tom, a now retired Chicago police officer and Vietnam War vet. This is the great struggle on the planet Earth. It is the darkness against the light. It is good versus evil. It is communism and totalitarianism versus liberty and freedom for human beings, for individuals, and for all of us. That's what America is about, just by the way.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I'll bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
Now, you may remember, just a couple of weeks ago when a mad Democrat, racist terrorist crashed his car into a Christmas parade in beautiful Waukesha, Wisconsin, and knowing about his racist posts online and his Black Lives Matter, his anger about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial results, the Democrat Party and the media completely ignored it. There was a Black Lives Matter radical named Vaughn Mays that suggested that this is perhaps the beginning of the revolution. You know, the revolution.
We'll have to wait and see, because they do have somebody in custody. We may have to wait and see what they say about why this happened. But it sounds quite possible that the revolution has started.
That's right. Sounds quite possible that the revolution has started. See, the revolution. This is the left. They've been talking about robbing Brinks cars and killing cops to fund the revolution for generations now. They've been rioting in Chicago and blaming the police for generations now. They've been killing and looting and robbing for generations now. You may remember a man named Larry Granthwal. Larry Granthwal actually died some time ago. He was a Vietnam War veteran who infiltrated William Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn's Weather Underground and revealed that they were talking about killing 25 million Americans. Back then, 25 million. Yeah, listen, the left never dies. It's like that movie, The Devil's Advocate. I've talked about it before. Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. It's Keanu Reeves, right? Yeah, that's right. And they never die. They just keep coming back for more and more and more. I've been saying this for years. When you give the left what they want, you know what they then ask for? For more. And then when you give them more, you know what they want? More. They want still more. And this Larry Grathwohl, Grathwohl, Vietnam veteran, came home, saw what was going on with the radical left, volunteered to work for the FBI and infiltrate the then SDS, Students for Democratic Society. They're not democratic at all, William Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn. And he testified, he wrote a book about how they talked very casually about killing 25 million Americans, setting up camps, and what's going on in China now. This is the left. They're not dead. When the Berlin Wall came down, they just reorganized, and they're coming back. And they are George Gascon, and they are Chesa Boudin, and they are Kim Fox in Chicago, And they are, what's the name of the one in another Kim in San Francisco, in St. Louis, another Kim Gardner, another Soros radical lefty. She's trying to put the nice couple in jail for stepping out on their own front doorstep with firearms because mobs of criminals were ripping through the city of St. Louis, and they came to their front yard and ripped their gate down. And this George Soros radical, Kim Gardner, wants to put the nice people in jail for standing up for themselves and protecting their property and their lives, which, these are your rights as an American. These are God-given rights. And Kimberly Gardner, Kim Fox in Chicago, she's the one, giving Juicy Smollett a free pass to the extent that she could. Had to go around her to, absolutely crazy to get any justice in Chicago. Speaking of Juicy Smollett in Chicago, and all of that happened because Tom called in from Chicago, Illinois. I've got to say, not something that I prepared for, but it's an amazing time to be in America, and this is the darkness versus the light. This is good versus evil. This is freedom versus slavery. And honestly, you hear these people, they go crazy over an abortion law in Texas. Slavery and genocide in China, where we're holding the Olympics, no problem. Their moral compass is broken. Bus drivers being dragged out of their buses in Chicago and attacked by mobs, kicked on the ground. Absolute madness. Just crazy. Crime. I got to tell you, I was looking at Washington, D.C. today, watching local news and reading the paper this morning, the Washington Post, such as it is, and all of the shootings and the murders and a student in Virginia, young teenage black kid, and shot to death. The murder trial opens in the shooting of an 11-year-old boy. It's absolutely crazy. These 3 women murdered, 2 in Virginia, 1 in Washington, D.C., guy arrested. He's a black guy. The woman murdered in Washington is a black woman. One of the women murdered in Virginia is a black woman. One's a white woman. And I had to tell you, that there were more murders of African Americans in the United States last year by other African Americans than there were African Americans killed in the entire Vietnam War. And where is the expression of anger about that from what we call black leaders in the United States? Where's Jesse Jackson? Where's the Reverend Al Sharpton? Where's the Congressional Black Caucus on these horrors, absolute horrors? I mean, it's just appalling what's going on. And do you hear anything from the Democrats? No, you don't. And where was the kid? What, Virginia State? Is that where he is? Another teenager murdered off campus, and Virginia State University. 19-year-old computer engineering major, black kid at Virginia State, and this is everyday stuff, and you don't hear a peep out of them, not a peep. You got a black guy in Waukesha, Wisconsin, runs over and kills the dancing grannies, and 6 people, all of them white, injured 60 more. And that story swept under the rug, right? Are they going to have wall-to-wall coverage of the trial like Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin? The riots, that all happened because Democrats were burning Kenosha, Wisconsin to the ground and looting. They were doing that because a guy who was beating his baby mama had the police called on him again, had a warrant out for him for a sexual assault. When he assaulted the police, disobeyed them, grabbed a knife, he got shot 7 times, and he's paralyzed but still alive. And that's why the Democrats were burning Kenosha, Wisconsin. Because the hero of the story is the guy beating his baby mama with the grotesque, if you've read the account I have, sexual assault warrant that was out for him. And, this is normal in the United States of America today. And in district attorney slots, we have Kim Fox and Kim Gardner and Chesa Boudin and all of these extreme radicals all over the place. And, that's welcome to today's Democrat Party. The Democratic Party isn't. And if you're still voting for Democrats, then this is what you're voting for. Be perfectly clear about that. The Republican Party may be no great shakes, and trust me, most of the time they're not. But, democracy is, Winston Churchill paraphrase, democracy is the worst form of government known to man, barring all others. But the left is here. They are here. No doubt about it. I'm telling you.